retitle the movie. We had to name it because apparently some companies don't want us to use certain names for certain characters. But this is not going to be meaning that we're not going to be able to finish the movie. What we're going to be doing is we had to make a few minor modifications to the character. Essentially, the character now is the property of Mr. Marvelman Productions, but we are apparently not allowed to use certain names or certain characteristics of the character. So, because we were trying to get the movie made as closely as possible to the true design and purpose of the character, out of respect for the character, X-Man, codename Wolverine, aka Old Man Logan, we had to do everything we could with the costumes, the props, the characters. We were trying to stay as close as possible to the movie. In fact, even tell the rest of the story. But some companies just don't want that to happen. So we're rebooting the character. We're going to use footage from the movie. But what we're doing now is very exciting because we're actually donating some of the costume props from that the characters wear in the movie, and we're actually going to be donating those, and the people that are selling those are going to be giving the money to various charities. And so, of course, we want to promote the movie, Mr. Marvelman Productions, but we're not looking for money for the movie. The movie itself is becoming more and more of a story in itself. So what we may be looking to do is perhaps produce a short documentary on the making of the movie. And so in some future time, we'll be releasing pieces of the movie as little short clips as part of a web show, like a web TV show, a web show, or whatever you call it. It's going to be a web show, but it will still be called I Am X-Man, but we will simply just not be allowed to call it I Am X-Man codename Wolverine. It's going to be the same character. Essentially, we're going to have the same characters in it, but we're going to have to dub over some of the titles that we already have, and you'll see we have to make some minor changes because we're apparently, according to some people, some companies, and whatever, for licensing, and they say we don't have a right to use this. When I own the movie 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I own the TV show, the cartoon. I own the comic book, graphic novel adaptations to the movies that they've been producing. I bought those. I own those. How can they say that I don't own those? But what we're going to be doing now is making the movie available in short pieces, but we will simply not be allowed to call the character codename Wolverine, which is his true code name. We will be able to call the character X-Man, which is his real name anyhow. But the sticking point was, can't use the term, the name, the title, codename Wolverine. We can call the character X-Man or codename X-Man or X-Man codename, but we can't say X-Man codename Wolverine, even though that's his code name. But that's okay because we know that X-Man is his real name. So what we're doing is we're actually releasing some of these props from the movie. We're going to be selling these newly designed claws, and we're donating these to other parties that will be selling them, and people will be able to buy this and these and other props actually worn by me in the movie. and also handmade X-Man shirts. So if you want to buy one of these, remember the money from this will go to charity. The money is going to be donated to the Comic Book Defense Fund, and the place where they're selling them is eBay. And so go to the eBay internet, type in www.internetebay.com, and what you'll see is the items that we're selling are actually this looking type of newly enhanced X-Man claws, because as you know from the movies, X-Man uses different claws for different times. And if you remember, during one scene in X-Man and his X-Men 2, there was one lady that stole a set of his claws, and she actually had 4 claws coming out of her hands. Those claws had to be related to Clawman's because there was one coming out of each finger. So this is kind of an adaptation, a variant edition, if you will. Anytime you have a variation on something that's already come out in the comic book world, it's called a variant edition. So these come complete with the gloves, because X-Man wears gloves, and also they have the claws because X-Man has claws, and there's 3 of them. So when you make the sign of the X, you make the sign of the X with 3 X's, like this. X-Man always makes the sign of the X like this. And then when he makes the sign of the X, he always does this with his mouth. Anyhow, so we're very excited to be offering these on internet eBay, but you have to go to www.internet.ebay.X-Man claws. Anyways, just look for X-Man claws on internet eBay, and all of the proceeds or the profits from the internet sale goes to the comics fund. So remember, the movie shall return, the movie shall be produced, only now it's simply called X-Man. Actually, now that I'm thinking about it, we might change the title to The Legend of X-Man. But that's just an idea I just had right now. So breaking news, possibly I Am X-Man, codename Wolverine, which we're not allowed to call it that anymore, could now be called The Legend of X-Man. Or perhaps the true story of The Legend of X-Man, a.k.a. he that cannot be named Wolverine, or something like that. I don't know. I'm not going to get angry about it, to be glad that we're finishing the movie. So go to www.ebay.internet.com and find out how you can have your own set of X-Men claws directly from the movie. What happened to my internet? Say it with me. X. X. X.